think about this, or think about this, or think about that. Otherwise, you can just go and buy a boilerplate business plan, slap your name on it, and turn it in. This is what your plan is. So if you don't have people that are helping you, it's just you, then that's your employee team. So all this information that we're gathering has to come from you. Okay? So we'll have to ask questions, and that's what the comments are for, to get people to think things differently. When I go through and review it, I'm not going to just correct it. I'm going to ask you a question. I want you to think about things differently. Because I can always tell you what you need to do, but that's not helping you guys learn what you need to do. Because when you leave here, you have to be able to troubleshoot as well. Okay? If you still aren't right, ask me a question back. Questions are great things. Okay? But that's how you're going to learn. Okay? So, any other questions?
Yeah. Are you here every week? Are you here?
No, I'm not.
So we have to get you on that.
When I'm not here, yeah. So I'll be back on the 22nd because there's other things involved with Tracy, like you're doing the crop plan. And so we're pulling all this stuff together from all these other areas, like the risk management you talked about. So when we talk about risk, well, the next section we go with, I'm going to say, what is the risk for your farm? Okay, so the risk for Rose's farm is going to be a different risk than somebody else's farm, depending on what crop you chose. Okay, so you guys did your crop plans last time, right? Well, or decided on which crop you were going to try to do. Yeah. Okay, but that was the first step, and I know I talked to Kissimmee about it. I said, they've got to decide, okay, because that's going to determine when you're going to get your, what seeds you're going to get, how much it's going to cost, and how much you're going to be able to make for this year, depending on what crop you chose. So it's all going to be, predicated upon that. So your risk then is going to be predicated upon what crop you chose and what you're trying to do. Okay? So think about all those risk management things that you guys learned about this morning, because that's the next thing we're going to write in our business plan, is what are the risks and where are our opportunities. Okay? Other questions? If you don't know what you don't know, right? That's okay. But if you think of it later, that's fine.
You don't want us to go out there cold turkey.
When you go out cold turkey.
Hey, jump in. You got to jump out there and stand out there. But you're showing us things to eliminate, right?
Not necessarily. What we're doing with the business plan is sometimes we're just brainstorming. Remember last week we were brainstorming what type of product, what products could be, and people came and said, well, hey, with the honey, you can do honey sticks because you can get a premium. So we were able to use the resources in the room to get you more feedback and information. Okay? So that's another thing we want to make sure we continue to do is share that knowledge amongst each other. But you have to decide, as we're talking about you got your products, right? But you have to decide, do you want to do a farmer's market? Do you want to do retail? Do you want to do this? That's what you have to decide. And then once you decide that, then we can say, okay, Henry, how much is it going to cost me to get there? How many people do you have to get there? If you can't get there, how many people are going to have to hire? How much is it going to cost? But first, you have to make a decision about what you're going to do.
Okay.
Does that make sense? Any other questions? Okay. All right. So just continue as and we'll get the sheets printed off. I'm not sure if there's a printer here that we can print it off, but we'll get the sheets to you as far as the login information is concerned. If you don't have it, hopefully the rate is corrected out. So just keep going in there to the ad plan as you think about things, because it's just like everything else. It's hard to sit down and write it all at one time. So as you think about it, write it on a piece of paper even or someplace, or just go directly in the system and just start typing those notes in there as well. Or you can put comments in. Okay, it's not part of the plan, but you can put a comment back to me as well, and I will read those. Yes?
Whose book is this?
That's fine. All right. Any other questions? Yeah, this is no English.
We have 8 for the printer.
Okay. So I can print it?
Let me see.
Doctor, did you bring the ink, doctor?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to email it. I'm going to put it in a 2-slide format. I have to do it for next time, so it's on a 2 sheet. Other questions?
Aren't you limiting some of the
Have you just kind of condensed it down to
I
your,
have. You're welcome to read all 289 pages.
I read 400 pages of this book.
Yeah, and again, some people's plans are going to be smaller, and some people's plans are going to be larger. You don't have to write a novel. Okay, you just have to have certain elements in there. But first, you have to get it all out. Then you can edit back. Okay? We want to make sure it's the opposite of salt. Like when you put too much salt and you can't take it out. But this time you want it all out there. Then you can decide what to edit back towards the end. Okay? So you don't want to miss anything. Okay, so organizational structure. Okay, how many people have just themselves? Okay, anybody have other people working for them? Family members? Okay, anybody have hired, like, other employees besides family? Hired workers. Okay, so a little bit of
We found out that the family members are supposed to be hired workers.
well, they should be, but sometimes, you know, they should be hired workers. I'm not saying there shouldn't be, but sometimes you're just working with families in and of itself. Sometimes it's a startup, but it kind of depends. So for those of you who have more than one person working, you guys have an organizational structure. How many people have an organizational structure? In your head? Okay, what's your organizational structure? Incorporated. Okay, but how do the roles? Organizational structure has to do with the roles of each person.
Johnny's in charge.
So he's head honcho, right?
Yeah.
So you're a top. And who's underneath you?
Me.
Who are you? Who are you?
I'm the assistant. He's the administrator.
Okay, so you guys are on the same, what is your role?
His right hand man.
Okay, so you're like an assistant over here.
Yeah.
Okay.
See, she's boots on the ground.
Okay. And what about, who's going to be doing your harvesting and stuff and planting?
That's next step, we don't know.
Okay,
I mean,
got it.
second, we're on a temporary start, we probably have to bring in some temporary.
So we bring in some temporary help, who's going to be in charge of that?
But I will,
Okay, so then that would be your role as well, so you have the dual role.
right.
Okay. Anybody else? Your structure.
So our structure is she's the owner, the resident. I am the partner and technical assistant. We have an administrative assistant who is the cousin of niece. We have asked for a marketing assistant. We have an attorney, but that's not under management.
Somebody's got a, who answers that? So it's outsourced, it's outsourced.
As an advisor.
Right, but who's responsible for that? Who contacts you? Who
I
contacts you?
because I use prepaid legal because they count theirs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, outsourcing is great, especially when you're small. You want to outsource those, you know, more specific. So again, if you're talking about payroll and stuff like that, it's a good thing to outsource it. ADP does an excellent job to outsource payroll.
So, because you know, with prepaid legal, you pay them money, so I can use that as part of my financial thing.
Use what? ADP?
Yeah, use the money that I'm paying for them as part of the money that I'm using as my.
Is it expensive? Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that would be legal expense. So whether you have somebody hired internally or whether you outsource it out, it's still that same expense.
Program, and we have programs that participate in youth workers.
Right.
Program for the summer.
Okay.
Things like that. I don't pay them, but
That's fine.
they get paid from their agents.
All right, so somebody else pays them, which is fine, so they would be in as a zero expense, but they still need to report to somebody within your organizational structure, so when they come on site, they still need to report to, right? Okay, so that goes back to the organizational structure. So the organizational structure, we're not talking about the organizational entity, which is more the LLC or your corporation or your, partnership or whatever. That has to go with the corporate entity of it. The structure goes to the hierarchy. It outlines the responsibilities of each person. How many people have it written down what their responsibilities are? You have it all written down for each role?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
You were working on yours, and you got yours written down for every single position and whatever you're supposed to be
I'm
doing.
totally good with that. Good start.
Good start. Okay. So why is it important to write it down, even if it's just one person, or two people, or three people?
Because we have to have a job description. That's a job description that we need to know because it might grow into someone else simple would be writing down your role and you following your role.
Okay, so do I write down my name and then I put what I do underneath it? Everybody do that?
Need to sign it.
Needs to be general, in case somebody else.
Yeah, so I don't put the person's name down. I write job descriptions for the role and the responsibility. This is what this job does. And what happens is when you write it down by person, oh, I do this, 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 I do this. And it can be 3 or 4 different jobs in one. So as the organization grows and changes, then you have this jumble of stuff. Then you get duplicity because this person did this and this person did that, and I didn't know that person was doing this and that. If you write job descriptions by the role, and as a small organization, you may be doing 2 or 3 or 4 roles, but you still have an individual job description for each position. So if you're going to have general manager, bookkeeping, finance, marketing, okay, all of the lower areas you have to have somebody responsible for it. So then you would write a job description for each one of the positions. Make sense? Okay.
There are the small things like that you might vary into 2 or 3 of those titles.
Absolutely. So again, you have one person, but you're responsible for these 3 roles, because if anything happens, let's say you start to retire, okay, I can still do this, but I'm going to hand off these 2 pieces to somebody else. Or the organization grows larger, and they become too much for one person, then you can take that whole piece and give it to one person. I like to do this part, but I'm going to keep this little part of it. I'm going to give the other stuff to somebody else. Okay, so the task is go in your actual position. Okay. Okay. So basically, we want to make sure as we're writing down the roles with people, and when we get to the business plan, after we get the actual positions down, we will then put the people based on their expertise and skills in the particular roles that they need to do. Now again, there may be some transition where you're helping somebody with their role because you have the expertise and it's going to be handed off to somebody else. There might be some training involved, and that's fine as well. It's also going to tell us where our skill gaps are. So as you write down the responsibility for the role, we may not have somebody who can fill that role. So we're going to have to either find somebody or go to school or go to seminars or whatever you have to do. But this will help you find the skill gaps. So where are you missing information? Okay? And that's where again the outsourcing becomes very good. Because also don't let your own work, right? And so you've got employees right on your taxes, employee taxes and all that stuff. It's a really good economical way to get your taxes done. All right. So basically, we've got 5 principles. We have exceptions. Who do I go to when things don't go right? Okay. Who is the person who's going to make exceptions to any operational policy? So how many people have their policies written? Is the next thing. Or your SOPs. Anybody have an SOP? First of all, what is an SOP? The end operation procedure. Why is that important? What do we do?
People know what they're doing.
So people know what they're doing. Okay? Again, if something happens to you and it's all in your head, what's going to happen to your organization? Yeah, so we want to make sure we are thinking about this as a business. It may be a small business, it may be just you as an individual, but you want to have these procedures in place, rules and guidelines. Again, same thing with an employee handbook. You may not be using it completely right this second, but if you've got workers coming in, there are certain guidelines they have to abide by, right? There's certain standards that they're expected to have. Do you have a book, a handbook? Yeah. Okay, excellent. Okay, you do have employees. But even if you're having workers coming in or volunteers coming in, there's certain expectations that you want them to abide by, right? So you still have to have those. Okay. Okay, the next, decision making. Now, who was the lady? What was her name? Barbara?
Yeah, probably.
Barbara. Yeah, Norma. So I guess she was talking a lot about human resources, risk, and stuff like that, right? What were some of the things she was saying?
Major risk, in her opinion, that your first risk is humans, that your second one becomes legal, and your third is financial, and
not reliable.
That's me.
That's free will.
They do. What else?
Because they come and go.
They can come and go, absolutely, so that can disrupt operations. What else?
They're losing this. Right.
They need to be trained, okay? And we train them using our procedures. But what about this decision making? How does that help us by pushing that decision making ability down to the lowest level?
Because it gives them responsibility. It delegates, you know. When you say,
Everybody here?
No, we can't really.
if you say our firearms, that means it's for everybody has well, not a buy-in. They're part of the whole operation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they feel needed.
They feel included.
Right, they feel included. They're not just slaves.
Okay. So they basically they are part of the whole operation.
Right.
They have invested interest
Right.
in making sure the operation is
Just
successful.
go right.
Is that correct? Is that what you're trying to say?
Right.
Okay. So giving them Daryl, what did you say? I heard you say it. Okay, you're kind of empowering them to make those decisions. How many times have you guys gone into a store and the cashier says, well, I gotta call manager. I gotta call manager to do an override. I gotta call manager to do this. I gotta call manager to do that because they don't have the decision making ability, which kind of puts them as just like, it's just like a robot who's going to do their job. Alright? So you want to get people the ability to make those decisions and empower them to get them more involved and actively involved. Okay? That's the importance of letting people make decisions. But before they can make a decision, what do they have to have?
Professional training,
They need
education.
the training and the tools, and I heard something over here. Information. So knowledge, which is our policy, the training, the tools, and the authority to do what they need to do. And who needs to provide that?
The operation.
The manager, whoever is really in charge, kind of goes down from there, whoever the supervisor is, the lead person, and the manager, then I put them up how your organization is set up. But the importance is you have to give people those tools in order to make those decisions. You can't say, you make the decision, but don't give them guidelines to do that. Okay?
You know, so ask others to help make the decision. Maybe you make the finals, but it's an input to make it.
Absolutely. So again, that goes to delegation, which also Henry, what you were talking about, delegating things to people, getting their input, and having it become a collaborative type of information. Getting people's thoughts about what they will do, not just, it's not a big dictatorship of you just do this, you just do this. They may have some good idea. So what if somebody comes to you an idea and you can't do it? What do you say to that?
I just work.
What kids you for?
So I come to you with this great idea and I want to do this and I think it's fantastic, I think it's going to help, and you come and you say, I can't do it. I'll check it.
Most of the part of economic, you have to make sure you can do it economically. You discuss it and find out is it something that's going to be profitable
Okay.
to the existing operation. Now, it depends, it might do it later at a later date.
Right, so when people come to us, like sometimes you do have to say, we can't do this, but we want to make sure that we're listening to what they have to say and explaining the reasons behind why you can't do something. Okay, or that maybe we can't do it right now, but we can do it down the road. Or that's a great idea. Go ahead and explore it more and bring me back some more information so we can make a final decision. Okay?
It's good if it's a family-owned business because, the family is all for the family.
Not necessarily. I hate to say that. That's, again, rose-colored glasses. But there are some instances where family is not on your side. So you have to still assess the kid when you're the same as you assess anybody else. They may not be intentional, but who do we take those for granted?
Family.
Our family. Here I wrote this one. I'm not worried about it. So we do tend to take our family for granted. We have to, again, keep the family business as a business. So when you go to work, you were at business, you were not at home. Okay.
Like I say, like into your study has a lot to do with decision making. It's not that, well, you just do your job and that's all we want you to do. But I'm saying, if you make it family friendly, it's like everything you say is everything you say about the company is taken as idea, or it's not stepped on. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. Go back to work. When we want you to do, when we want you, we ask you for something. You lower the worker, you know. But a lot of the ideas come from the worker.
Absolutely, and that's what we're saying. But there's two things. You want to get the input of your employees, but you don't want to treat them as family. You need to kind of get out of that family mentality. Okay? You can still have a business and involve everybody and make it collaborative without going to the whole family type of concept.
Yeah, I think that what he's saying is good. I think like job description, talk about it first, and the delegation of making decisions. And that's kind of like preset, even with the family members. It kind of makes it easy without hurting the feelings when situation comes up, you know, just knowing and setting our own
Yeah, so family, when they go to work, has to be treated the same as everybody else. We can't designate, and so many times, especially like with kids, oh, it's just my dad, it's my mom, I'm going to go do this.
So
They're going to forgive me.
So you would say you had a part of decision.
Well, not so much that, but at least job capacity, what it's doing. You know, like have a family meeting, you might explain that you have financially, so maybe that already be some predetermined, you know, things to be done. The idea is to grow the business, you know, as a whole, that's a good thing. Let somebody come in, like I said, might not take off 3 days, family member, stuff to drop in the fields, not coming out. You hire somebody else and then say, well, I could have been here, this and that, and then call me. So that's the stuff that you talk about.
Okay.
Yeah, so we want to make sure that we're treating everybody equity with respect, listen to their ideas, but we don't want to throw into that family mentality we want to kind of get out of, because so many times people take such advantage of that whole family, all the long term, even friends. Yeah. Hard to work with friends as well, right? Because it's like, oh, I got this friendship over here, and I got to make a business decision over here, but I know them as a person, they're my friend, and I don't want to hurt their feelings.
That's why they have that phrase, it's just business.
It is, which can be really hurtful for friends. If you don't have that basic understanding of when we're at work, you still have to abide by all the rules and stuff that you do. And sometimes you have to abide even more so. I mean, I've worked with a lot of friends and stuff like that, and my managers, and when I go to work, she's a manager, I'm a co-worker, or vice versa, depending on where we are. It might be that she's a lead person, I'm the underling, or vice versa. Just depends. And if you respect those positions, it will work. It's when they don't get respected or stepped on, that's when you have trouble. Okay? And that's what we talked about in the first session, where sometimes you will end up firing a family member. Okay? It's the best thing for the business overall.
I watched that example with you having to fire a family member. Sweetie Pies, the program, and she had to fire her grandson because he was taking advantage. He was taking advantage of her, and it was the worst thing she could have did. I mean, it wasn't the worst thing, but she was hurt, but she realized that he was hurting the business.
Right. And especially when you have more than one child or more than one person you're responsible for, you got to get rid of it. As a consultant, one of the worst things I ever had to do, or often we got called in to fire family members. That's all. We just got called in strictly to fire them because the owners could not do it. I mean, it is hard. So I was in Boston, and it was an Italian family, and the daughter was stealing, and the cousins were stealing, and we got to make we have to make X amount of sales to support everybody, but people weren't working. And it's a horrible thing to have to do. But sometimes that's what has to get done. Okay? So span of control, again, a person should not be responsible for more than 5 or 6 people. If you start to get to that size, you need to start to break it down. And also, especially like when you have like the summer workers or the youth in, those are doing really well. How can you elevate them up? We're doing really well. Huh? So promotion to where?
Maybe supervisor positions.
Not a supervisor, but they would be a leader, a team leader. Okay, again, we're talking like more of youth workers, you can have like 10 or 12 of them. It might be as the new ones come in, they are going to be juniors and seniors in high school or college, and they can start taking care of the new people coming in because they've done a good job. So you want to make sure you kind of have room, and maybe a small little bump up, but it is that little bump up of extra responsibility, but then you got to let them do it. You can't give it to them and then step in and do it anyway. Okay? So that also helps people get more involved and mitigate that risk of humans leaving or being dissatisfied or stealing or something like that. Why do people just feel because I don't care about them, I don't care about the business. It's no big deal. Okay? But when you get them involved, you kind of mitigate those factors. Okay, and this is unity. Where do we usually run into conflict here?
When everybody has different ideas about
Yeah, definitely different ideas. But who's it usually come between in the smaller family-owned businesses? Huh? Usually the husband and wife cause little problems here because, again, they got a relationship outside the business, and sometimes it tends to come into the business. That's the other thing you have to make sure you're watching. If you're working with a spouse or a partner or something like that, you want to make sure that you are always, just like with your kids, you may have disagreed with what that punishment was, right? But when you came out, both mom and dad have to be on the same page, right? So it's the same thing, whether it's a management team or husband and wife or whatever it is. If you were part of a management team, you may disagree in private, but when it comes out, it has to be a unified response and communication to everybody else. Very good. Okay. Let's see what our time is, okay. Alright, so again, just there's a couple different, like this is kind of more of a flat organizational chart or smaller. You might just have the owner manager. You might just have the owner manager and then you have again the laborers, and so you're kind of responsible for everybody. But again, if you get enough people, you can start putting in those lead positions without having to add to your personnel. And then as you start to get a larger organization, you said you might have additional positions such as HR, customer service, where it falls under a couple different people as opposed to the same person. Okay? But ultimately, you still have the person at the top making the final decisions. Okay. So here's your behavior versus assessment. Okay, who's involved in your business and what roles do they play? And as you start to decide how are you going to market your products, how are you going to harvest your product, and what products you're going to make, think about what type of labor it's going to take and what you may have to pay them in order to make that product. We'll put that product to market. Okay? So we're going to break down those costs a little bit later as well. Okay, what are they unique skills? The other thing that people tend to do is what? Take people with this skill set and make them try to do what? Some don't here. Oh, you just need to learn it, or you just need to get it done. So you really want to take the people with the correct skill set or hire a person in. And again, that goes back to sometimes you can't put a round part in a square hole. Okay, you have to make that decision. So just because they're there, or just because they're family, or just because they're friends, or just because they've been there for 20 years, does not necessarily mean they're right for the job. Okay, will it change? Okay, will somebody leave the organization? Are we looking at succession planning if we're talking about retirement? Okay. Is there potential that somebody may get hurt? So we want to make sure we always have those backups. So we want to have a backup person, even if it's not your primary job, because hopefully you get a vacation out of it sometime, right? Might go away for a few days. So we always want to make sure that we've got some backup and taking care of any changes that may happen. Okay. And as I said, what are the gaps in labor or skills? We might have to outsource work to other people because A, you just don't have the people, and two, it may be more economical to do it. Okay? Sometimes it seems expensive, but if you think about what you are risking on the other side, either missing deadlines or missed opportunities because you're involved in the minutia, it's better to pay that premium to get something done and factor it into your cost than to try to do everything yourself. Oh my God, it's going to cost this much money. You got it? You can't get it work. Okay, well, we'll figure it out. Okay. And I said, how much going to cost. So before you just get, I can't do it, figure out how much it's going to cost, see what makes more sense. Again, you might have to plan something differently, but factor that into the cost. And then we talked about samples last week, or last time. What did we say about samples?
The facts and figure costs.
Factor into your cost. So, we talked about, oh, we had in the crop plan, she said, write down what your samples were. But I didn't see anything that said how much it would cost you to give those samples away. So if you've got 10 bundles of something, and you're going to give 3 away, you're not going to sell it for X, you're going to take the cost of those 3 that you're giving away and roll them into the price that you actually sold, the pieces that you sold. That's how you cover your costs for your samples and stuff. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and have you work on your worksheet. You got to do your credits thing still? Okay. So I'm going to send out worksheets to do the human resources assessment. So you can either A, do it directly in the ag plan, just listing who your personnel is or what your roles are. So this the role and a brief description, and then we'll put the names to it. Or I'll send you a worksheet as well, which you can do on that. That's a little bit easier. So we'll email that out to you guys later. Okay?
I'll just put these down. I'm trying to think of the word. Oh, man. I'll come back.
Come back to it? Does it have to do with human resources? Or?
It has to do with the same whole part of the planning as far as what is businesses also have a they don't have a role.
A particular role? Job role?
Job role is included in it, but I'm trying to think about
CEO
Business plan.
church is what I'm trying to think of.
The handbook? For the handbook?
Is a handbook, but it's
Oh, they do.
how about the brochure?
How about a brochure?
No, it's got all of the preamble and
The bylaws?
the Constitution and bylaws. The bylaws in your articles of incorporation and those that stuff.
Bylaws.
Okay. Bylaws and Constitution.
Okay.
Now, the question has to do with the planning of it, because you get all, part of it tells you who you are, what you, and then the other one tells you what you, the other part say what you are. Like it has all of the principles, but it also has all the people that work in the program, and like in the church, we have the pastor and then the elders, and then the pastors and the elders have the same. And then you have the secretary, and you have treasurer, all of the
Officers.
all the officers, and then the programs, and they have a description of each one and how they relate. Is that the same thing?
That is very similar. Again, in the bylaws, it's typically only officers. It's high level. Okay, so very, very high level. When you get down to you wouldn't typically have like a laborer down there or a maintenance person or something like that. So those wouldn't typically be defined in the bylaw. So again, it could be secretary, treasurer, officer, if you went to the elder, the pastor, or CEO, or human resources and other corporations, depending on how your corporation is set up. But it's the same concept though. So the concept is the same. It's just a little bit for a different level. Okay? So some of that you will be able to use if that person is above your blueberry. Okay, if you're like for higher level people, if they have the same role over the blueberry farm, you can use that. But then you still need to define what the work person is doing. Okay? Other questions? Yes.
No, I'm about a loss for the word. I think it's a flow chart.
Okay.
They start with this person here and then they go.
Yeah, that's the organization. That's actually an organizational term.
Organizational chart.
What's wrong with? Yeah, so there's organizational chart. So you can lay it out visually like this, which is fine as well. If you want to use Word, you can do it that way, or you can just write it on a piece of paper and we'll put it into a flow chart for you as well. Or you can just list the positions and we'll help you put it in an organizational chart visually later. Okay. Yeah, this is organization. A flow chart would be, again, the process. The people, process, products. So a flow chart would be, you start here, then you move into this, and you do this, and then you do this, and you do this. So that would be your flow chart. Yeah. It could go linear, it could go up and down, so you could have a decision making, so you do this and this, if we ask you to do this, if no, you do this. So it just has to depend, but the flow chart would be how the process flows, and the organization part is a hierarchy.
Could they do like a board of directors?
You could have a board right at the very top,
And
yeah.
a president of the board, and then of the decision, and you got a chairman that would.
Yeah, for the larger corporations, you tend to have that. Yeah, so you might have a board, you have a chairman of the board, and then you got the CEO, president, then you got human resources, marketing, operations, and then sales, you got salespeople, so really this depends on how big your organization is. And what most churches are tiny, more like small, yeah. Okay. But the point is that you need to think about it. You still need to define these things. Even if it's very simple, you still want it to be defined because you want to think. This process is more about what am I missing and what do I need to do to not miss things and mitigate the risk. Okay. All right. Okay, so for the financial needs for next time, I want you guys to start thinking about where you are financial health. How many of you guys do it full time? So your primary source of income. And other people have supplemental income, right? Yeah. Other incomes, right? So I want you to kind of think about what your personal expenses are. Okay, we have a worksheet. It's on page. Here's my book. Page 76. I just want to show you how it works. So if you want to go, just put it on the worksheet, it's fine. What I want you to do is start thinking about what your personal expenses are. We're going to break it down by month. Okay, some of the stuff may be annual, some of it may be monthly. So basically recreate it. So on here, in the yellow, all you have to do is put in your monthly expenses. Okay? So if you think your monthly food expense is going to be $100,
Are you talking about for what we're about to do or what our lifestyle is right now?
what's your lifestyle right now? What's your expenses are right now? Okay? And I am locked out. Hold on. Okay? So all you have to do is just put in the monthly amounts right here, and it's going to go ahead and put that across the spreadsheet for you. Okay? So you can just go down for each one of the categories in yellow and put each one of those in. So I said, maybe easier to do the spreadsheet. It's very simple. You just click in the cell and you type in a number. Okay? Down in the green section would be more of an annual type of thing. So again, if you estimate if you have your history of income taxes, if you don't know, that's fine. We can get that later. But if you think you're going to buy...
Of course, the income tax is what with this. I mean, what you pay into the tax a year?
Yeah, we're looking for again, cash flow here. Okay, so right now we're just trying to start to gather financial information.
So is this for just our project, or you want this for general our lives?
This is for personal.
Personal.
This is for personal. Okay? So you're going to hold on to this. So I'll send you a spreadsheet, or you're going to put it in the book. Okay, or you're going to have a piece of paper, like this up. Okay?
Here's a question.
Yeah.
So this morning I asked a question that, my mother and I are going into this venture, but my husband is not going into this venture. So when we put this information together, it's almost like we're starting off with history today, not like history of
previous,
that's right.
yeah.
So I won't have any income tax for
That's fine.
AP Paradise Gardens.
That's fine. So we're going to be doing both. I want you to start thinking about your personal expenses first, then we'll start thinking about your business expenses. The reason I want you to start thinking about your personal is because you're trying to generate income from the farm. You want to kind of see how much you're going to generate from the farm. Okay, later on. We will talk about the business expenses. You should always keep your personal and your business separate. Okay? So that's what I'm going to send you the spreadsheet. You guys can keep it or you can put it on a separate piece of paper. I'm not asking you to turn that into me. But I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about it so you can figure out, okay, if I'm going to generate income from the farm, how much do I need to generate? That's your only source of income. You need to know what all your personal stuff is. If it's a supplemental part of your business, it's not quite as big of a deal because you have another income to supplement. That's why you want to keep the two separate. But if it's your only source, you need to know what your expenses, living expenses are in order to work on your pocket. Okay, everybody good? Yeah, so if you don't know, so if you think you're going to buy a refrigerator, you have to, if you're going to have a big expenditure, put that down too. I'm going to spend $500, I have to replace something. And then that will break it down by month. So the green would be a yearly amount, the yellows are going to be monthly amounts. Okay? Again, more of this is just brainstorming, you start thinking about where you are, so then when we get to the other parts, you'll be able to incorporate this information. Okay, so we will email that out to you. And so basically for the next couple of weeks, you want to get back into AI plan and keep on putting in your information in there, gathering information about what you think you want to do for products and stuff like that. You've got your crop plan, so you need to start making a plan as to what you need to buy as far as seeds and materials and all that type of stuff. Make a list of all the things you're going to need. You're going to need that for startup costs of a brand new operation. You're going to use that to start. Did Tracy go over all that with you last night? Yeah. Yes. Okay. So yeah, you're going to need 10 bushels and some, a tiller or whatever. Okay, I'm not a farmer. Help me out here. So whatever equipment and supplies that you're going to need to start up this operation, you're going to need to start to calculate that as well. Okay. Jahari? Cynthia? I'm not sure which one you are here today. Did you do the crop plan that you said you did at the table?
Yes, but I didn't show it to them at the table last night, but that's what I'm saying, that they can do Excel, especially ones that are savvy. We were going to do that. We can play around with that a little bit more. We ran out of time last night.
So we can send on a spreadsheet similar to this.
It is a spreadsheet.
Okay. All right, so we'll work on a spreadsheet to say if you need 10 of this, it's going to cost this. We'll make it calculate for you.
Yep.
Okay? So just start writing down, I need this, and this is the amount, and this is how much it costs. We'll get in the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet will calculate the whole thing. Okay? All right, so I know they got to get their portion here. Everybody still have my email address?
Yes.
Okay, so if you need anything, as I know we were running short of time before, so just email me. It may be 24 hours to call you back or get a hold of you. Put a phone number if you want me to call you. Otherwise, I will respond by email. Don't be surprised if it's 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. So you may have to get it during the day, but you'll have it the next day. Okay? All right, so I want to thank you guys, and we'll keep on pushing on.